Time for another lateral vault technique, and possibly my favorite technique, although honestly you should, from a martial arts background, you're supposed to not have a favorite technique, but I like it a lot. It's very versatile once we get past the basics. Anyway, what it's called is the lazy vault. Primary normal purpose for a lazy vault is you're coming at an angle to a rail or another little obstacle, and you want to get over it and keep going the same direction you're going. So instead of having to kind of come in here, come over, jump, and then eventually go back, you want to just go straight over. So, lazy vault looks like this normally. Ideally very fluid. So, a couple things before we get into how to actually clear over. The most important thing is what you do with this inside leg. Unlike the thief vault or the, I think parkour generations called it the slide monkey. Anyway, unlike that one, here, it's our outside leg we're jumping off of and our inside leg relative to the rail that we're swinging. So the inside leg swings. And the swing is the most important thing with the lazy vault because it creates almost all the momentum, no, most of the momentum, and makes it lazy because instead of having to jump really hard, you're just floating up and kind of giving physics a little extra help. Here, we're going to start out standing next to the rail, hand on it loose just to give us balance. Here, pick your inside leg up, and we're going to swing it just like it's a giant pendulum, back and forwards. Now, to actually create lift here, what we're doing is as this swings up to the front, try and kick it as hard as we can, straight up. Almost like it's just straight shin kick in at someone. And as that happens, this other leg is going to just jump a little bit. Doesn't have to jump too hard to create some extra lift. So over here, and you kind of come off the ground without much. You don't have to do anything. So here, not anything, but like that. Work on that on both sides, as always. For a little bit. Once we get there, then we can get into the actual technique. And first thing to talk about is what we do with our hands, and this will be easier to see over here. So, for now, we're not going to worry about the outside hand, just the inside. As we're approaching this, inside hand's going to come on. Elbow staying pretty straight. It doesn't have to be completely locked out, but it should be pretty straight, not bent over here like this. Maybe straight. Outside leg plants as we swing our inside leg up and forwards. And the key here to coming over the rail safely is what we're doing with our arm. If we keep it kind of loose, we're going to end up staying really close to the rail and barely clearing, kind of skimming your butt over it even, which isn't inherently bad, but it's better to have some clearance when you're not sure, when you're in a hurry. So here, the key is as you're coming here, your weight shifts onto your elbow as much as possible, and that keeps you above the rail. Now, as that's happening, your leg is going to reach its apex on the front. You're going to kick yourself over, and I emphasize you're going to kick yourself up with that. So you're not trying to go over and across. If you do that, it looks kind of like this. Not really going where we want to. So, instead, this is an exaggeration at first so you can see what I mean. You're going to kick straight up, and clearing over is going to happen from the momentum of the run and from what your arm's doing for you, kind of pushing you forwards a little bit. So here, arm on, step in, swing, and you're going to kick up, and both feet are going to elevate pretty high. So one more time, hand on, step in, swing, jump as high as you can, keeping both feet pretty straight. Clear over. Now, I don't know why I went around, but once you've got that, now we can start to really smooth it out and actually make it more useful for going where we want it to go. We do that by taking that leg we swung up first, and we're instead of keeping it up in the air kind of unnecessarily, we're going to pull it back down as we clear safely over the rail. So we're here, up, and in the moment we're kind of over the railing, that leg is going to pull itself back down, and we're going to kind of just walk or run out, depending on what we're doing. So here, up, pull it down, directly under you, and then keep going. So easier to see from this angle. Like so. Now that we have that, you probably noticed I actually start using the back hand, the outside hand, to help me. It's not strictly necessary, and you can actually do this technique without worrying about this other hand at all, and it'll still work like this. It's not completely necessary, but what it does help is when you're trying to go straight, it kind of keeps you straight. It straightens you out in midair, rather than having to kind of self-correct as your foot hits the ground. So what happens? Hand comes on, you're clearing over, kind of as you're already almost halfway off, this other hand comes behind you, grabs the rail, and pushes off. So here, up. It just kind of gets on there, pushes me off, keeps me clear from the rail, and gets me going in the direction I want to go faster. So, this side. Like so. That is actually pretty much it for what the lazy vault involves. It's a pretty versatile technique, and I might eventually, in a later course, cover some of the fancier ways, some of the fancy things you can do with it, just for fun. But for now, that's the primary function of the lazy vault. We're not going to get into like the turn lazy, which looks like this or anything, because it's not that it's useful, but you don't really need it. So anyway, try it out. It's my favorite technique, honestly, so hopefully maybe it'll be yours too. We'll see.